What's going on, guys? Your boy Amazing. We're back with another video, and in today's video, guys, me going over what characters you should be building for the November festival, assuming it's Chaos Arthur, because I feel like we're probably going to be getting Chaos Arthur for the November festival, guys. And in this video, we're going to be going over the characters that I recommend that you guys want to build for the team that's most likely going to be the upcoming, best team in the game. So let's hop in and let's discuss it in this video. Before we actually hop into the video, make sure to subscribe to your boy Amazing. We are on the road to the 40,000 subscribers. Your boy Amazing is closing in on that 39,000, almost to 40,000 as well, guys. Let's subscribe. You know what I'm saying? I mean, obviously I can't subscribe to myself. You guys subscribe to me, like the video, subscribe, all that good stuff. And with that out of the way, man, let's hop in and let's discuss the characters that I think you guys should be building, considering if the festival would be Chaos Arthur. Now, the thing is, right, Chaos Arthur is a character that is really centered around the human, race, right? Like, so that's the whole thing where Arthur was able to get the power of chaos because he's the human race. Like, he was able to do it, right? Alright, guys, so the first character you definitely want to be building for the Chaos Arthur team is actually going to be Holy Knight Escanor, or LR Escanor. And the reason why LR Escanor is going to be such a good character on the team is because he's a really strong DPS human character, and he would fit super well in the team, right? If we look at his passive here, he does apply Eternal Flames from the passive. So if you guys don't know what Eternal Flames are, the enemies take 15% more damage taken. And then as you can see, he's able to apply one Eternal Flame for 3 turns on enemies that have not used a skill during the enemy's turn. And then if all allies, including the secondary slot hero, are humans, applies 1 additional Eternal Flame on all enemies at the start of the ally's turn for 3 turns, and the hero's attack related stats will increase based on each Eternal Flame on the enemy. So Escanor is going to be like an insane character, guys, on the team, because let's say Chaos Arthur is like a super crazy DPS oriented character, then like Escanor can be that second DPS that the team needs so that they don't really have too many issues, right? That's the thing what I feel like with a lot of meta teams right now in PvP is they really rely on having multiple DPSs. You look at like a team like Demon Team where they have Demon King, Purgatory Melee, or even look at like Unknowns where they have like Hell, Tyr, Albedo. They have multiple characters that can dish out a ton of damage, and LR Escanor fits the mold of, being a very strong character on the team, right? So just being like that is going to be really good. Remember as well, Escanor does have buff strip on his rank 1 all the way to rank 3, which is really good. Just having buff strip in the kit means that, if there is like any, buffs that are related to like Chaos Arthur that he gets, then obviously if facing opposing Arthurs, you're going to want to definitely have that buff strip. And then looking at his other single target card, he has the Blast effect, which blasts 40% damage per Eternal Flame on the target, and this does scale up to 550% while also filling the ultimate move gauge of Escanor. And then one other thing I forgot to mention about his passive as well is that, and this is for regular Escanor too, but the hero removes all buffs and debuffs effects from self and becomes immune to them pretty much forever, as long as you have ultimate move gauge maxed out, right? So yeah, LR Escanor is very insane. He's going to be one of the main characters that I'm going to recommend for you guys to build, just because I feel like, Chaos Arthur alongside him gonna be a really insane double DPS combo that we'll have going on there. So the second character that I'm gonna recommend to you guys to build is actually going to be Blue Roxy, and Roxy is another DPS style character, but the reason why she's so good is because of her brand new Holy Relic she actually received fairly recently, where it actually increases the hero's basic stats by 3% and crit damage by 30% for each human ally in the battle, which, considering Chaos Arthur is going to be for the human team, you're going to run probably him, Roxy, maybe LR Escanor, or maybe another character that I'll talk about in this video, and, getting that extra 9% basic stats, and then the 90% crit damage is going to be really insane. And then looking at Roxy's passive here, guys, she's going to increase the hero's crit chance by 40% for each human ally on the battlefield, and if a critical strike occurs from a human ally single target skill, it inflicts additional damage equal to 300% of the hero's initial attack. So that's going to be a really nice supportive effect that the other humans can take advantage of, because LR Escanor is going to be critting. Chaos Arthur, assuming he has crit based skills, will probably be critting as well. And Roxy herself, she's going to be critting, so she's going to be able to deal a ton of damage. And as you guys can see, additional damage only occurs only once for each skill, but it's it's very strong the way it works, because you do a single target, you get that damage after the damage cap if there is one, right? It's just a very strong effect from Roxy right there. And then she has 2 really strong effects right here: Flood single target. She does also have Spike AoE, right? So you guys can see the effects, and they're very strong. So Roxy's going to be a character I highly recommend you guys build. And even let's say you're not running Roxy on the team, if you have her high dupe, you can actually run her as a Unity link, which is going to increase the attack related stats of human heroes with a Unity effect by 5%, but it does scale up depending on the dupes, right? I think I'm 3 to 6, so it's 5%, but I think I think it's 6 out of 6 is 10%, and then the lower dupes is like 2 or like 3. It's like not anything crazy, but yeah, man, I mean, you definitely want to, you know, build Roxy just for the human team. Even if you're not using her on the team, I think as a link, she's going to be a very great option as well. So there's going to be Roxy right there. Moving on, guys, to the next character I'm going to recommend you guys build is going to be Transcendent Bond. Now, the reason why Transcendent Bond is going to be super good for the human team is because of the way he works with his passive, where he's giving damage reduction to the team, right? So at the start of the battle, applies Extortion Zone on the hero, then increases HP related stats of applicable allies by 5% for each one on the battlefield. And the applicable allies actually include the 7 deadly sins, fairies, and humans, right? So obviously, you know, with the human team specifically, Bond is going to be buffing them by giving them HP related, and then the Extortion Zone itself is actually going to decrease applicable allies damage taken by 20%, and additionally decrease the hero's damage taken by 20, specifically for Bond. So Bond gets 40% damage reduction, while you know, also giving the allies 20% damage reduction as well, which is going to be really good. And then he's also able to decrease all enemies attack related stats by 2% up to 5 times for 2 turns whenever an applicable ally uses a skill during the ally's turn, which is also really good too, because you're going to be able to apply a ton of attack lowers. And if, you know, Arthur has like a weak point skill or any like skill like that where it's going to be dealing a lot more damage per debuffs, that's going to be really insane. And then another thing too that Bond is able to do is that the hero's skills result in critical damage when they used on a enemy with a marker concentration, which this is his first skill right here, which is a marker concentration effect, which does times 3 pierce, and then it also lowers the enemy's critical chance, so that if you're facing like an opposing human team, you can actually like lower their crit chance, and that's going to be really strong right there. And then following up with the Tornado Blast card, which is this is going to be Bond's damaging skill, so he's going to be able to get what is that, 25% damage dealt per active debuff on the target, and a limit up to 7 times with ×2 critical damage as well. So it's a very, very strong effect that you're able to get from applying marker concentration and then going with the follow-up you know, effect right there. So very, very good stuff. And then for Transcendent Bond's ultimate, he just has Power Strike, and I think it's for every buff. No, it depends on the deuce, right? It depends on the deuce, but I'm at 4 to 6, right? So it increases the damage dealt on the target by 20% for each buff or debuff applied to them, and then inflicts power strike damage equal to 520% of attack on all enemies. Very, very broken. And then also, another thing with Transcendent Bond is if participating in battle, the hero's attack-related stats increase by 3%, up to 24% at 4 to 6, obviously, for every attack-related stats decrease effect on the enemies, which is really, really good, man. So you get a pretty big, for me, it's a 24% attack-related stats increase, but that's obviously very strong. And when you're going to be running it on the human team, it's going to be really, really good as well. Another character I will mention, guys, is if you don't have LR Escanor, you can run Ultimate Escanor. And Ultimate Escanor is still a great character, too, because he does hit past the damage cap, or just in, you know, in general, where he does an additional damage because he has the Scorch effect, and that's going to do 200, 300, 500, really good. And then he also does have the overpower AoE, and his passive is going to be increasing his all stats and damage dealt. And then he also is able to not be stat lowered as well, which could be pretty good if Chaos Arthur is doing some like any type of stat lower or anything like that in a mirror match. That's going to be really good, and Escanor could be pretty strong, not being able to be stat lowered. And then obviously Escanor having the Final Flame revives from the dupes on the ultimate, that's obviously going to be really insane as well. And so he could be like, you know, if you don't have LR Escanor built right now, you could definitely run, you know, Ultimate Escanor on a team like that, and I think it would be pretty good as well. Alright guys, so now that we've covered a bunch of like, you know, mainstays on the team, let's actually cover some backline characters you guys might want to build and, you know, might want to run it on the team as well. So the first one I'm going to mention is going to be the Halloween Easton. The reason why this Halloween Easton is going to be a really good backline is because she increases the human ally's basic stats by 7% for each enemy defeated in PvP, and if a human ally defeats an enemy during the ally's turn, removes 2 orbs from the ultimate move gauge of all enemies at the end of the turn. So that's going to be a way where you're able to remove the gauge from the enemies while being able to build up basic stats, and it's going to be a way that kind of counteracts the like alt rush meta. So if there is like an alt rush meta with Chaos Arthur, then obviously Easton as a backline is going to be really good, building the basic stats for the team, and also making it so that you can actually, you know, remove the enemy's ultimate move gauge as well, which is going to be really good. Another backline you guys can definitely build is going to be Ragnarok Bond, and the reason why he is going to be really good if you're not running like Transcendent Bond on the field is because he's actually going to be able to increase all allies attack related stats by 10% and decrease all enemies pierce rate, crit chance, and crit damage by 15. So he's going to be supporting the backline by giving you the extra damage dealt with the attack related stats, and then also lowering the enemies related stats for attack as well, so that they do less damage against you. So it's kind of a good, you know, supportive effect from the back that Bond's able to provide. Let's say you're not running, you know, Transcendent Bond in the front, you can run this guy in the back, and that's going to be a really strong effect where you're, you know, lowering the enemy's attack related, you know, stats specifically, while getting the attack related stats, including the basic for your actual team, which is going to be really good. So Bond's definitely another good backline. I think another good backline as well, guys, is going to be Jenna. So Jenna did get a Holy Relic recently where she actually increases the attack related stats of human allies up to 12%, which is pretty good, right? That's still better than Ragnarok Bond, so you get that boost, but it's not going to be like, you know, super substantial versus Ragnarok Bond. I think Ragnarok Bond is probably still better, so there is that at the very least. Other than that though, guys, there are a few other, you know, characters you could definitely build as well. I think a few notable options could be like Eren. If you pulled Eren during the Attack on Titan collaboration, he's going to be a good character because he works well alongside other giant or human allies, which, you know, human allies would obviously mean Chaos Arthur. I think Eren might be a good character. And another thing that he can provide as well is when an ally with an attribute advantage uses a skill to attack the enemy, the ally's attack related stats will increase by 20%. So LR Escanor, if he's attacking like a blue character, or if he's attacking like an opposing Eren, he's going to get 20% attack related stats up to actually deal a ton more damage. So this can obviously help support the team while on field. And I think Eren himself, he's actually not a bad character. And when we do get, you know, the Chaos Arthur human team, he might be one of the staple characters that people just, you know, kind of run whenever they're building the team. Another option as well, guys, would be Levi from the collaboration as well. He's obviously really good too, because if the, you know, enemies are actually running buffs, and let's say like Chaos Arthur does give like a buff to himself and to the entire team, this effect of the Mark of Lethality is going to be really good because Levi's able to remove the buff and then apply a Mark of Lethality that lasts for 2 turns, and then also the effect itself for the Mark of Lethality is going to lower the enemy's crit resistance by 50%, and then yeah, it's going to be really strong so that Levi's able to do a ton of damage with the sure kill you know, card effect right here, where it does 2 times pierce rate increase and then times 2 critical damage when they have a Mark of Lethality. So obviously Levi's going to be another, you know, honorable mention character I would say is going to be pretty good. And then another character I would mention right here, guys, is going to be Rudius. He's another collaboration character as well from the Mushoku Tensei earlier this year, and Rudius is really good because he actually does increase basic stats for himself for every human ally on the battlefield, and then when a human ally uses a skill, 1 magic orb is applied to the hero so that Rudius can become like a secondary DPS, which is going to be really good when, you know, kind of dealing with enemies that, you know, if they're focusing on like Chaos Arthur, they'd also have to worry about Rudius because he's going to start building up those magic orbs. And then with his single target skill here, which is based on having or no, not the single target specifically, but I think it's yeah, heroes damage dealt with single target attacks by 20% for per every magic orb. So when you have 5 of them, you get additionally increase the critical chance by 50 and damage dealt by 30. So you get a 50% damage dealt and a 50% crit chance increase when at 5. And so Rudius is going to be hitting very, very hard when you do have that setup as well. So yeah, guys, that pretty much covers all the characters that I would recommend you guys build here for Chaos Arthur. I think, you know, there's definitely going to be a lot of variety with the human team, which is what I like. And I think Chaos Arthur will definitely bring the human team to the forefront where people are going to be able to run multiple different human comps. And I think that's going to, you know, bring a lot more, you know, creative teams that people can run. And it's not just going to be like, you know, one main meta team. It's going to give you a lot of options. It's going to be a lot like Unknown, right, where people just kind of run whatever they want on Unknown as long as they have Nanashi backline and maybe like Albedo in the front, right? It's going to be kind of like that where you have Chaos Arthur, you know, and then you'll have like pretty much anything you know, pretty much as the team, right? As long as you guys are running like the strong humans that I recommended in the video, you guys should be doing pretty good. So that's going to be it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe as always. If you guys want to see more videos like this, definitely let me know in the comment section below, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Peace out and have a great rest of your day, guys. See you later, man.